guys are here for the social media training webinar. I've got some fantastic panelists with me. My name is Sienna Fallon. I'm the Community Development Manager for the CBLDF. And I'm going to let you guys, John, why don't you give yourself a quick intro here?
I'm John Dudas from Carol and John's Comic Book Shop in Cleveland, Ohio. We're a 29-year brick and mortar comic book shop. The Carol of the shop is my mom. She's retired out of the business.
Nice.
Timmy?
Yeah, I'm Timmy Heague of Arsenal Comics and Games. We're a two-shop operation in Ventura County, one store in Thousand Oaks, and then one store in Ventura. Been in business since 2014. Comics is the life and passion of myself, and I'm happy to live the dream and share it on social media with my shops.
Awesome. All right. Sorry, I'm
hello
just
to
trying
Dr. Nose. No, that's cool. Hello, hello, hello. Is Cliff watching down there at Dr. Nose? So Cliff's the elder statesman of the community, man. We love
Cliff.
Cliff.
Hi, Cliff. Watching from Georgia. That's awesome. All right. Well, you know, while this is setting up the live stream, we can just start it off. So I think a lot of people kind of get scared if they're not super into social media. They don't know where to start. And I think a great way to start with anything is having a goal. So John and Timmy, what are your goals for your social media pages? What do you see their purposes as part of your business, if that makes sense?
Go, Timmy. Go for it.
For me, it's the two major things come to mind immediately. It's what we sell, and that's everything, the new product, the product that's evergreen, everything that comes within our doors that we want to sell someone. But then the other major thing is letting people know what we're about, who we are, what type of shop we are, our vibe, our mission, letting people know what the experience is. And so when they see that online, they want to, of course, come through our doors. And in this time where we're not allowed to let people through the doors, hopefully it translates online to them wanting to message us, call us, email us, and still support us during this time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're basically trying to connect with our customers. We don't really, till this point, sell anything online, but we want to let people see our culture so they buy into our culture. So they want to be a part of our community and be a part of our shop, to see how we do business and know a lot about us before they even walk in the door. But ultimately, our goal is for people to see us online and walk through those doors, because really we don't get paid unless someone walks through those doors. And we always say that a big part of social media is it doesn't live on its own. It should show the cool things you've already been doing. So a lot of us that have comic shops for a long time have been doing Free Comic Book Day and all these cool things, but they lived in a vacuum. Now we can show the community what we do. We can show the community how we contribute. So.
Oh, and Timmy, you just got a little bump saying that people love your Instagram. So
Thanks.
But yeah, so let's talk a little bit. You know, obviously things are very different right now than normal. So how has your messaging to your customers through social media changed at all? Or are you kind of operating in a similar way to how you were before all this?
For me, it changed at first drastically. And then now we've slowly gotten into the rhythm of how we used to post. Every week for social media, my shop, I have an outline of, okay, these are the things I have to do. There's stuff I do every week, like new comic book day, new gaming product, promoting our events. But then there's the stuff that I make sure I have space for in my feed, in my posts that I know will be off the cuff, like huge back issue collection or just something awesome happening in the store and I want to showcase it. But now since the stores are closed because of the state lockdown, most of my rhythm and my feed of what to post is catering to letting my customers know that while the stores are closed, the experience of Arsenal can still be a thing on social media, as well as our website. Like live streams have been a huge success. We would do them very occasional when we were in business for the public to come through our doors. But now we use live stream as something to give people the Wednesday experience of hanging out with us, doing shop talk, but from the comfort of their phone or home.
I think our messaging has always been, you know, community, family, and that fun, that we were fun guys to hang around with. And now I think it's the same message, but it's a bit amplified and in crisis mode, where we want people, I mean, people want to know about what's going on with the small businesses they love. You know, they're not worried about McDonald's, they're not worried about Walmart. They're worried about us, and they want to know how we're doing. And we're letting them know that we're doing okay, but we're you know, that we're there, and we're doing the best we can. That's one of our big catchphrases, because there's a lot right now about whether you're making good decisions about staying open or not staying open, you know, following the orders of your community. But it's important for them to know we're doing the best we can and we're making good decisions. Otherwise, if we don't have social media to communicate with them about why we're doing what we're doing, our message gets muted. We don't have a way to let people know that, like, here's why we're doing what we're doing. We're not just that business that would be open, though we're not, we're shuttered, but like we're there's a rationale behind our decisions, and we can present that to the community, that we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, that makes sense. So John, you kind of mentioned, you know, your message has always been community, family. How do store owners go about figuring out their message? How did you decide that was the message you want to get across, or did that just come naturally to you?
No, you sit down, and you every store probably knows that you should have a mission statement too, but you should probably also have a list of core values about what's important to you. Like, comic collecting as a hobby is important to me. Reading the comics is important to us. Family is important to us. That all our events are family friendly. So write down what's important to your business. And just because something's important to me doesn't mean it's important to your business. And make sure that in some way your core values are conveyed in your posts. That's when you start to shape your small business identity to a certain extent. And people, you know what to get from you. I mean, like, to a certain extent, you could say, like, we're a family friendly store, or I could show people my 4 and 8-year-old daughter in my shop, engaging it, showing up to my events. So the difference is, like, you can make a statement, but with social media, you're showing people that you're applying that statement. Again, it's about what you're actually doing, you know, not what you're saying you're about.
Sure. Timmy, did you have something to add?
Yeah, it's like what John said a few minutes ago about how what was once in the vacuum of just being for, you know, our little comic world is now brought into the open with social media, where people can now see on Facebook and Instagram what Free Comic Day is about, and everything within our doors, what we sell, what we do, it can be broadcasted. And I think what's important more than ever, ever since I opened up, my core mission has always been, you know, comics are for everyone. And that's why on social media and in person, you know, someone always has their first comic, and it can be anything, graphic novel, comic, whatever. And there's that stigma that comic shops are inclusive and like a clubhouse. And for me, the mission on social media and in person has always been, no. Comics are for everyone, and inside our doors or online, it's for everyone. And with things like the live streams now, anyone feels welcome to chime in, talk. Like, we had someone on Tuesday's live stream where it's not so much selling, but we just do a talk show to, like, captivate the feel of the shop and, you know, let people have a moment where it feels like they're within the doors again during this time. You know, someone chimed in, oh, this is so fun. I live in town. I haven't been to the shop yet, but I watch all the Marvel movies. And then there was a comment thread conversation of everyone just giving recommendations off what they think this person might love. And I just think that's the coolest thing. And I think comic shops, if to be thriving and successful nowadays in store and on social media, what I always think about, and this line, the local paper quoted me on it when they interviewed me, and it's the dumbest, worst line from a song. It's from Kanye West of all people, but it's I'm here to turn atheists into believers. And I think that's the comic shop motto for turning people into comic fans who have never touched a comic before. Like, I see it, I relate it, and I apply it.
And also, you could do a little bit of a self-assessment of yourself and what you respond to. What are your favorite, do an inventory of what your favorite social media sites are. What businesses are you responding to their message, and why? And try and incorporate that into yours. A local bike shop is one of my favorites that I follow all the time. And I think they're just some cool dudes. And I like giving them my money, and I like shopping there, and they're polite to me and my family. So although I've never seen what their motivation or business statement is, I know it's there because I can feel it when I walk in the business and when I go on their social media sites. So look at what you respond to personally.
That's great advice. And kind of pivoting off of that. So, what platforms do you use the most for your business? Are you guys only on Facebook, or do you use, a wide range of social media platforms? What do you find works best for you?
I'm a Facebook guy. Obviously, we've been doing that for a long time. And again, Timmy, that's how we built up that following on Wednesdays where people check our product. We've been doing it for a long, long time. So people know to come to us to look for it. We use Instagram too. And we don't use Twitter in any way, shape, or form. I think there's an account out there. I just don't use it. It's not my thing. I'm more of a visual guy. And I just respond better to Facebook, and you go with what works. Don't feel you have to do everything. You work what's working for you. We use, the difference for us is we use Facebook for interaction. And this is actually what we learned by working with Facebook. Facebook is for back and forth interaction. When you agree to be friends with somebody on Facebook, it's an agreement. With Instagram, you can follow a celebrity and they're not going to talk to you or respond to you. Maybe they will, but in general, Instagram's almost a one-way street for inspiration, where Facebook is meant to be a back and forth. So that's what we found to be the difference for us. We don't expect anybody to try and communicate with us on Instagram, though that has changed a lot for people. But our Instagram's a cat's eye view. Everyone knows a dumb cat's eye view of a comic shop life. And it's meant to be kind of voyeuristic, where you just watch this cat's perspective on what's going on in the comic shop. You don't have to engage, and that's how people respond to that page. But don't think that, again, you can have completely different perspectives on how you run your Facebook and Instagram. They should have a line between the two. So.
Timmy, do you operate the same way?
I juggle all three, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Facebook and Instagram, it's very much the interaction, the likes, the comments. They can be equal most of the time. Especially during Corona times, my Instagram DMs for people asking questions, inquiries, or just want to say what's up to the store, that's definitely taken the lead over Facebook. But Facebook is still pretty active in the inbox for sure. Twitter is a huge tool for comic shops. Sure, you can only write so many things in 140 characters or 280, I think it is now, if you want to make a super lengthy one. But Twitter is a great tool because if you tag a creator and have a website link or a video or whatever, most of the time that creator, if you're promoting their work, will retweet you. And that is more eyes on your page, on the store, being aware of your website. And, when it's free and it's like a symbiotic relationship of you promoting a creator's work and them promoting you, it's pretty cool. But Instagram, it's very active, extremely active, and Facebook as well. But Instagram, I try and do things a little bit differently on both. So people that are hardcore followers that follow us on both sites, they get a little bit of something different on both. But the core of it is the same.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good point about Twitter, because that's kind of what I was going to follow up, which you guys kind of pretty much already covered, is what do you use each platform for specifically? I think we kind of really answered that.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning too that everybody should have their own way of doing things and what responds for them, and work with what responds for you. Timmy's can be completely different from mine. And again, I think Instagram is up and coming, especially for probably the generation of your customers too, Timmy. I mean, they're probably skew maybe a little bit younger. I don't know, because you are. But I mean, for us, people respond to Facebook better. But in general, Instagram's outgrowing Facebook for sure. But I mean, for some reason, we still do great with it. So it's what we go with.
Yeah.
No one's right or wrong.
No. And that's the thing. And you have, by using multiple platforms, you can hit, different customers that, maybe someone only has an Instagram account and doesn't have a Facebook account.
You have nothing to lose by doing all of them. Really nothing to lose. You're just leaving money on the table, and you're leaving eyes on your store name if you're not doing them all. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
We do repeat stuff to a certain extent because we have the cyclical system where I write up a weekly email, we send out the weekly email, we put that on our website, that becomes our website, and then I link to the website with that information in Facebook, boost it, and different people get the information fed to them in different ways, and they prefer to find it in different ways, so even though it's basically sometimes the same information. Yeah. The heart wants what the heart wants.
And by hitting them from all angles, you know, you make sure you get the most eyes. So I guess, how do you come up with what you post? I mean, I think that's a stumbling block for a lot of people. You know, they might not know what their customers want to see. How do you come up with the post that you put on your social media pages?
Well,
what? Go ahead.
Either.
I'm very, very involved in what's ordered for the store, the events going on in the store, but primarily I look at what my most ordered items are, my most requested items, knowing the overall hype within store as well as online. I also like to gauge upcoming releases by doing posts and seeing what the likes and comments are on that. And then, of course, I look at my pull list numbers to see what people are signed up for way in advance. But it's an interesting mix of, you want to promote what people are excited for, but then you also want to choose the things that they don't know they're excited for yet. Whether it's maybe something you're inspired by, something your staff likes, something that you know will be good, but they just don't know it yet. Because a lot of my customers use us, like John said previously about his page, a lot of people come to us for their info, to see what's coming out, to see, you know, what's in the comics world. Most of my guys, when like news and gossip breaks in the comic world, my customers don't even bother with that. They just go to us. And so with that, you kind of have the ability to give what's important to you, but also what you think your customers can be getting the best of its ability, news-wise and product-wise, of what's coming out. Like all the gossip stuff that have like negative words about the industry, like we don't share that or tell our customers that. And for the most part, our customers don't even bother looking at that stuff. So like when I see shops like comment on all that stuff publicly, I just kind of feel like, what's the point? But if it is something important with the industry, we will share it, and we get to chime in with our outlook on it, mostly, of course, positive, and then our customers will see it, and then, of course, you know, hopefully see our view and also feel positive as well.
So ours is like a different spin. I think, Timmy, you focused on product a lot. Like for ours, we're always telling this ongoing story about our business. And I always say that comic shops have it kind of made for social media, because we're used to telling stories through pictures, because we've been processing information that way our whole life. So we will lay out a couple weeks worth of posts to tell like our story of our store. People respond to, it's a joke that people respond to images with a cat in it, to the point where I'll just hold the cat up in a picture and it'll do better. But posts that have the staff, posts that show things that are behind the scene, things that contribute to the overall narrative of your store seem to work really well. And to find out what posts will work best, I mean, you should put some time into crafting some humor into your posts and make them like fun and shareable. And ultimately, you kind of, you know, like I said, you write this narrative about your business that people can join in on. They want to see what the next post is, and test your post too, where sometimes we would have a post where I would just link back to the website and do a data dump about something like Batman Day. And then other times I'd have a stupid picture that would be us wearing the Batman masks and all the staff acting goofy, with the link below that to the URL. And that got way more responses than a direct link to the info. So it's like, but that's trial and error. So just try different forms of posts that are presenting the same information differently and see what your responses are. I saw somebody post about advertising and stuff like that. And I think you get to that later, but real quick answer was, we boost posts. We're big on boosting. You don't have to get involved in anything complex. Well-placed boost is great.
Timmy, if you want to chime in. Yeah, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Do you boost your posts?
I do, yes. I haven't done one since Corona, but before that, my regular scheduled programming was once a week, once boosted on Facebook and one on Instagram. Both are extremely effective. They're not the most expensive thing. The key for me, I do on Facebook is making sure the post reaches our followers but also their friends. That's really effective. And then, of course,
Timmy, you stole that from me, didn't you?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I did. Yeah. I always saw the option, and it wasn't until John said something I was like, and then it's been a success since. But then both of them do the whole, like, you know, picking subjects and matter for what, like, people, your followers or potential followers like and follow. And then it kind of matches up with them. And then, of course, the big one is your area radius. So I just select my county, of course, since I have 2 shops in the county. And that seems to be pretty effective. But not to circle back, but what John was saying about telling a story.
Yeah.
What I found to be really effective is, like, in a weekly span of posts, I'd say probably like 25% of it is product based. And then the other portion would be
nonsense.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
just photos of us having fun, you know, something we're excited about, just being goofy, a goofy video, just something funny, but then never underestimate the power of a good meme. It's incredible. It's,
so do you use those on your social media pages, and do those get a lot of engagement from the people who follow you?
They absolutely do. I'm very picky about what I do meme-wise. They have to be wholesome. They have to be topical, like very, you know, current events in the nerd culture world. I like to do original ones, and then sometimes I'll do ones like associated with the store. So like the store will be in the meme or the logo, or me or an employee or whatever. Like there's a very fine line with, like, posting a very good occasional meme every once a week, twice a week, and then just turning your store page, like I've seen some stores do, into a meme page. Because it's like, while they do get interactions, likes, and shares, which is great, and it's awesome to have your store name attached with a meme that's gone, like, semi-viral, I don't know if I want to be the comic shop that's the meme comic shop, you know?
You better get to that meme early, and it better be laugh out loud funny.
So when you guys share the memes, are you guys mostly using that as a way to, like, build engagement and draw people to your store page, or are you able to use that to get sales?
No, to build the humor and culture of the shop. I mean, like, if we post a meme, it's because we think it's funny, and you know a little bit more about, like, whether we like, you know, Josh Whedon, or like a certain thing that we like, or like put it this way, not so much it's a meme, but like, we're a big Dr. Doom shop, and there's this comedy act of Dr. Doom going on. We're a big Skrull shop. Like, there's certain things that are just funny. Not that those are memes, but like, there's a background culture of what's funny in our shop. You know, Doom's arrogance, the Skrulls are everywhere, you know, like, so anything that adds to our brand a little bit through appreciating the humor of a meme. And I'm also going to back up for 1 second and agree with Timmy that he's right. It's about 25% product, 75% nonsense. I mean, that's about right, Timmy. That's the right ratio, I think.
Well, you see, what's funny is but for me, it's the opposite. It's 75% product, 25% nonsense.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, forget it. You're wrong then. You're wrong then.
Oh man, we're gonna have a civil war on here.
It's just, for me, the goal is it's like you just said, it's building a brand. And with 2 shops, it's a lot harder to constantly do the nonsense of both stores. Plus, since I run the social media, if it was more than 25%, I feel like it would be like, God forbid, if I ever take a day off or a vacation, you know, I feel like that would be a lot harder for someone to manage both shops and kind of get that ratio down. But for me, it's just the brand. Like, I think I want people to, like, I've always wanted Arsenal to be a brand and not a person, because I'm very big on the team effort. Like, I never want people to call it Timmy's Comic Shop, because I love my team. I love that it's a team effort, and I want that to relate into the brand. But I want us to know that we're a comic shop, it's serious business, but also I want people to know that we're people as well. So it's, you know, and maybe some weeks it'll be more than 25%, but I'd say overall I'm at 75%, you know, what we sell and what we're passionate about product wise. And then, of course, you know, who we are and some nonsense and humor.
Real quick.
To a certain extent, though, Timmy, when I follow you, though, like I always see the nonsense posts because from a comic shop owner point of view, no, but respectfully, like those, I respond to those because I get to see Timmy and his staff being Timmy and their staff, whereas products are just products, you know, like, but again, I'm not right or wrong. I'm joking about that. And then there it is from Scott Sampson. Yep. Jab,
right hook. I know.
And guess what? Jab is 75% nonsense. And the right hook is the other 25%. That's Mark Bowler loves that book, actually. Very good comment. Yep. It's not jab, hook, jab, hook. But Timmy, no, you should probably send your social media to a data analysis to see. It's probably more nonsense than you think.
Oh, probably, yeah. I'm probably kidding myself, thinking I have that much business over nonsense. But you know, it's so funny, the nonsense posts. I feel like sometimes less is more because when you do that post, it gets so much interaction, likes, shares. It's awesome. Yeah. You know, the comments are great. People chiming in, having fun. It's a good time.
And so when you guys are talking about posting products, how do you guys track to see if your posts about a product lead to sales? Do you try and keep track of that to make sure they're effective? And how do you do that?
I'm really bad. I'm like a hippy dippy. I'm not a big metrics guy. I'm just like, things work out, everything like it feels right, or I get a good vibe off it. But to a certain extent, I mean, when I do the weekly post or the weekly, videos now, we get a bunch of emails where people add stuff to their files. So there's a bit of metrics to that. So people are out there. I mean, the boys know, they said they know instantly when I put the posts up because the email gets flooded. So there's a certain amount of metrics to that, but in general, I'm not really good at tracking the results of anything other than that's why I love boosting so much. They want to sell you on a really complex advertisement scheme, not necessarily the best idea. A boost, you see the instant results from it. You could track what just happened. So, I mean, yeah. Timmy, go ahead. Sorry.
Facebook will always give you a notification when you have a post that's, it'll have like a little fire emblem in your notification saying this post is tracking better than others or whatever. So, you always have that to see, and sometimes you agree with them and sometimes you're just like, wait, what? Why are they telling me that? But it's like John said, it's the messages, it just adds up. I mean, I'll be looking at my phone and, after 5, 6, and 7 messages about the same item, the same thing, I'll just say out loud to a staff, oh my God, people really are going crazy over this. And, it really adds up. It's just when I feel when a product via post is going so successful, there's just no denying that you're aware of the success.
Sure.
Because your phone keeps blowing up and people want to know more about it or reserve or just chime in.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into, we're talking broadly a little bit, and I know some people are worried when they make posts, on Facebook, if they're doing it right, So do you guys have any tips on making posts? Like, do you keep them short? Do you add a lot of copy, or do you add photos? What are some tips for best practices on making a good post on social media? Or is there no right way to do it?
Well, no, I mean, there's no right way to do it, but I mean, one thing that we always do is every time we have an event or we have anything around the shop, always be collecting assets, and assets are good photographs of your shop or something that's going on. Keep a bank of them, and later on you could throw some text on them and make a great post out of them. I mean, it's not just our business, it's assets or advertising in general, since back to Mad Men. Keep cool pictures of your business. And even if you don't know the comedy act or joke that you're going to put on it at the point, maybe later on you'll figure out a way to attach it to something. I mean, you should know a good image when you see it, again, from years in comic books and everything like that. So it's, you can never think too far ahead. And again, there's tons of apps out there that you can go to, Instagram's business site or Facebook's that can help you edit these things very easily, incredibly easily. I'm a very lazy Instagram and Facebook story guy, but Timmy's great at it. I do it personally on my personal page, but not so much my business page. Timmy, if you were going to teach anything at Comics Pro, it would probably be that. You're really good at stories and
yeah, I did a roundtable in February about it.
Well, why don't you give a little info on how do you go about making these so good?
So with stories, the biggest thing I always like to say off the bat is every post you do on Instagram, you can put on your story from the get-go. And what you do is you go to the little airplane icon where you would send a post as a message. But then on the very top, once you select the airplane, it'll come up with a list of people to send the message to. There'll be add to your own story. And from then, what I do with every post is a square of the post will show up on my Instagram story. And you can do little GIFs, or I like to do a location sometimes. So, if people search Instagram stories for Ventura County, it shows up. And, GIFs are eye-catching, or tag creators or whatever, because Instagram stories in a way are just like Twitter retweets. And so you're essentially retweeting your post on your Instagram story. And then everyone looks at Instagram stories. If you're an Instagram user, you're always going through them. And most of the time, some of these people who are primarily going through stories, they might not even go through their feed. So that's you putting your post in their eyes. And I have just shy of 3K followers on Instagram. And every day when I do Instagram stories, you can see like the eyes on it. It's about 600 to 800. So that's 600 to 800 people seeing that post. And what's interesting is it'll be those 600 to 800 people seeing that post, but then sometimes it'll be a post with low performance and likes. So at least that people are seeing that post via story. Mm-hmm. But besides the post sharing, it's just really eye-catching pictures of product or people in the store, like your staff, or just fun candid shots of customers being happy. You of course ask them if they want to be on the Instagram story, and most of the time they go, of course, yes. And we make the cheesy joke, are you ready to be social media famous? And they're like, oh my God. And it's super fun. And you tag them, and then they of course share that on their own story. It's an awesome blend of getting your customers involved and being stoked to rep the brand, but also getting that free advertisement, which really helps, share your store. But yeah, Instagram stories, it's just very eye-catching things related to the store, your staff, the vibe, the mission. And yeah, just throwing location tags, GIFs, eye-catching text. Instagram stories are a huge tool. And I feel like if you're not at least posting 3 to 4 stories a day, they can be video too. Sometimes just talk to the camera, your staff, just what you're excited about, how your day is going, what books you just read, just interacting, because people do respond to stories. You can comment back and message back, and it's just more way to interact with your customer base.
Sorry, John, I just want to give a little 101, if someone doesn't know what an Instagram story is. So, you can obviously make a post and that'll show up in people's feeds when they're scrolling through, but stories show up at the top where people can put little photos that you can click through from all the people that you follow without actually scrolling through your feed or going to a certain business's page to see the post. It'll just pop up at the top of their Instagram feed, and you can just click through the stories rather than scrolling through your feed. I just wanted to give that note to someone who might not know what an Instagram story was. And John, go ahead. What were you going to?
I guess as far as crafting good posts, one thing you have to realize is that we also as comic shop owners have an advantage in social media because we're representing properties that people already have an emotional connection to. If I show you Captain America's shield or I show you Superman's crest, you have an emotional reaction to that. You have preconceived emotions and feelings about that. And the goal is to create posts that align that with your business identity. I'm a big Captain America fan, so you see the Captain America iconography pop up a lot, and we associate that to our business identity. Same thing goes with your city and the city you represent. I always say the best comic shops aren't the biggest ones. They're the ones that represent their city itself the best. And we're in Cleveland, Ohio, so it's a big deal to us. Birthplace of Superman, Harvey Pekar. There's a big comic book history here. But I think every town has a way they can be represented. I know Joe Field explained to me on one of his custom covers that he had a statue from his town, Concord, in California. There's a lot of ways to represent your brand and your civic pride in your community too. So if you can align the superhero properties, civic pride, and your own personal brand, that's a winner. It's a big winner.
Awesome. We kind of mentioned it earlier that you guys have kind of started using social at this point to help sales. So both of you guys have been doing Facebook Live sales, and I know a lot of retailers are interested in getting involved and maybe aren't sure how to start. How did you guys start off doing Facebook Live sales, and have they been helpful for you when you guys have been close to the public? Have those been a good business tool for you?
Timmy, I'll go. Want me to go?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go.
Go ahead.
So there's a very active Facebook Live comic book selling community on Facebook. There's a lot of groups about it. And during about a year and a half ago to 2 years, our whole county was on fire. And it was a total nightmare for so many reasons. And of course, sales were hit. So we were looking at other ways to make incomes to keep the dream alive. And because we took a really bad hit. And so we started doing these live sales and sharing them through these groups. And it was a challenge at first, but we got a good rhythm on it. And unfortunately, when business picked up, we stopped doing the live sales, which is fine because we had to focus on, the doors were open, people were coming in again. It was fine to drop it. But now that stores are closed, we're very thankful that, and John's a part of it too, there's a Facebook Live selling group called Comic Book Shopping Network. And it's just people who love these shows, want to buy books on the live shows, and everyone is dedicated, serious, and just the vibe is great. There's no nonsense. It's people who love comics, love talking about comics, and want to buy comics off you and support you. And doing it on there, we share it on our store page as well. And people then join the group. And, it also just shows too that we're about comic shops, because here we are now every week promoting other shops as well on CBSN, because, we're all in this together more than ever, especially now with, the whole country going through what it's going through. But yeah, live sales, it's the closest thing we can get now to that in-store customer interaction. It's people come and claim, oh my God, what is that? I want it. How much? And, selling it to them. And sure, mail order and packing up is a challenge, but it's worth it. You're putting books in people's hands when you have 2 closed stores. So Facebook Live sales have been a fantastic tool. When it comes to live sales, not on CBSN, I just use Facebook Live as kind of shop talk. We do a little segment. We sell a little bit, but really it's just for us, that aspect is just making people still feel like they're in the store.
Continue the community, kind of.
Exactly.
So John, so Timmy had some background before all this started. You kind of dove right in.
Yeah.
What are some tips you can give for someone who's looking to dive in right now? How did you get started?
We did great. We decided okay, we're shuttered up. What are we going to do? At the time, we didn't want to do a GoFundMe, but we wanted the customers that wanted to contribute to what we were doing. So we pulled out old late silver, early Bronze Age marbles. We hosted a quick live show. I told stories about the books the whole time. First time out, we had 100 people in the room, and we sold, it was an hour-and-a-half show. We sold 3/4 of the product live, and then we backed it up with a gallery of all the books that were left over on Facebook, and we sold up to 90% of the books. It was enough to pay, we said, the 2 employees. We build it that way too, to keep the 2 employees employed with medical for 3 more weeks. So now we basically do one once a week, and they the last one we did on DC, and I really had to, test my knowledge on it because I'm a Marvel zombie. But ultimately, we sold 100% of the product. We sold 90% live, and by the time I woke up in the morning and looked at the gallery, everything else had sold. And this is people's way of supporting us. All the customers are hanging out in one room during these sales. I get to tell old comic book stories. My wife thinks I'm a freak now because she watches them and she's like, this is what's going on inside your head? I'm like, yeah, this is what's going on inside my head all the time. So, well, I mean, it's been fun. And it's, again, the reaction's good. It feels like everyone's in the room. What tips would I give? One thing too is putting the show together is good for my mental health because it makes me feel like I'm doing something to keep my business afloat. Again, we had the inventory for it. We're a big back issue store. So I had the inventory. We're selling it highly discounted, but like, oh, well, I mean, ultimately great reaction. Advice, just go for it, because like nobody right now expects you to learn a new skill perfectly. It's not like you're launching a new business. You already have a brand. You're trying to connect with your customers. And if it doesn't go perfect, you're going to be okay. I mean, our last sale last week, we had technical issues. There was a storm. I was losing the feed. People didn't know what they were bidding on, but it went great. We sold everything. So, I mean, like, there's success and failure. Afterwards, I got on and made a post with my daughters with me, because I'm broadcasting from home. I'm working from home. I set up a whole studio in my house, and I thanked everyone for tolerating what was going on and the bad feed. Nobody cared. Like, as I go around, like Timmy said, there's a whole community of stores doing this now, and like individual shops. The wife and I went live feed hopping one night. We were watching all these different shows, and I didn't stick around when it was going well. I stuck around, like, so when it was going bad or someone was messing something up. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? But it made me calm down when I realized, like, nobody expects it to be perfect. You're not launching a new business. You're associating with your current customer base, you know. So, and we've grown customers from this too, that said we've never set foot in your store, and we look forward to going in it when you reopen. So awesome. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Facebook Live sales. But again, yeah, you got to figure out a payment system, because man, we've flooded with orders. And keep somebody else in the feed. Here's a piece of advice: keep another employee in the feed, keeping track of what's going on. And that's Ben for us, and he does a great job, because you can't do everything.
And Timmy, same similar tips, or?
Yeah, the shows that I do where I have one of my staff with me, not just go way smoother, but you have someone to, like, I can interact with someone physically and talk to them, and that to me is a lot easier than just speaking into the void and, you know, reading the comments, which is fine, but it's just the energy is just so much better when you have that person next to you who can chime in and talk with you. But having someone be able to comment for you while you're doing the selling, and then they can keep track of what's sold, is just amazing. And
basically, like, at one point, our claims were getting, like, we would list a book and we'd have like 5 claims stacked up. And we learned that internet feeds are different. So these weren't the final claims. Everybody types it in, hits claim. So we actually have to rewatch the feed to see who claimed it first, you know, because there's a timestamp on everything, because it's not how it plays out live. And at one point, I told Ben, he's like, well, why do I have to watch it live if I have to rewatch it anyway for the claims? I'm like, because I want you in the room, dude. I want you there, like, rah-rahing people and just interacting with them through that, because I can't. So having a second there. And again, for us, Timmy, Ben's not even in the room. I'm at home in my little studio, and he's at the comic shop. So we're social distancing too. So it's, you know.
What was it difficult to come up with a payment system or any advice on that end?
We're shuttered up, so they got nothing to do but figure it out. But yeah, it sucks. It's we just kept saying connect with us at info@cnjcomics.com. Don't do it on social media, and we're really bad at doing intake on social media. And I always say that, like, if you post that you want something on our Facebook page, it's like, and I'm probably wrong about this, but it's like you have a bulletin board with Post-it notes, and you put one more Post-it note on it, and we're supposed to see that Post-it note. Please just send us an email, because all the emails get stacked up in order, and that's what we need right now. And some people most people have been awesome, but some people are like, well, I don't get why I can't do this through IM, because we're down to 2 people and we need the orders stacked up in order. Please email us, then we will PayPal invoice you, then we will, what we prefer, take a credit card over the phone, you know, and then we'll set up shipping options. The people that have linked everything, like Samurai and the banks, to a Google Doc where you sign up and put all your information in. I wish I was savvy enough to do that, but I'm not. So,
Timmy, what do you do something similar? Do you do it by email? Do you have a form?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say everything John just said just really just spoke to my soul on a very spiritual
That's
way.
what I'm here for, buddy.
Thanks. Literally just yesterday, I'm having lunch, and I just stare off into the distance, like mid-bite, and my employee just stops doing his packing and just looks at me and goes, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, I just realized that I have the impending fear that we have so many emails and DMs of orders that I'm totally afraid that no matter how thorough I'm being and that I'm writing everything down and logging it, that there's going to be the one person I'm forgetting.
Yep.
And I just, and that's scary because I want to be so thorough and I don't want to disappoint any of my customers who, of course, purchased something. I want to ship it out in my 5-day handling time, and I don't want them in a week being like, hey, dude, what's up? But like,
and I would say after all, like nobody owes us anything, but like we asked for like, this is the time for everyone to give concessions in our direction. And again, when it comes back to how we started the show tonight, we're doing the best we can. You're not being screwed over. We're not getting to you. We're not avoiding you. We're doing the best we can.
Just
we
difficult
really are.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So yeah, I know people are very curious about Facebook Live. If they haven't started on that, I've seen it be really successful for a lot of retailers. I think Timmy and John both hit on why it's a great resource. I put together a little how-to guide that I'll shoot everyone who's attending here, just like the actual, like, how do you do it? How do I open Facebook Live? How do I get that set up? That you guys will receive in your email inbox by today. So hopefully that'll help get people started.
Get your orientation right before you go live. Do it, or you'll be
sad. I just realized I didn't answer your question. So in the beginning of the video, I'll verbally say it in the comments. Hey guys, when you claim something after the show, please message me or the store your email address for PayPal invoicing. And what I'll do is throughout the show, whether if it's just me doing a solo show or I have my employee helping me, well, every once in a while I'll comment all the details like, hey, if you claim something, please message us your info. And
yeah,
you know,
having reminders.
Like shipping prices and stuff. Absolutely. Because everyone watching is just all about the comment thread. And so they'll see you pop up and yeah, you just got to remind people and inform them. And I've had, in the last month of going hard with Facebook Lives, I've had maybe one person flake on me on payment. It's been awesome. Everyone's been really like thorough, giving me their email address, paying up. It's great.
Awesome. Well, and Mark Geary sent you a little doc, John, on how to use a Google form. So.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I probably could ask the banks and everything like that, but I mean, they've got it laid down where like theirs was exactly the stuff I need to know, like your preferred shipment, method, shipment or delivery, your name, if your eBay or Facebook name is different than your real name, your preferred payment method. So it's, yeah, thank you for that. I'll use that.
All right. So we're heading towards wrapping things up. We're going to go back a little bit more broadly. What are some ways that you've been able to grow your audience on social media? Is that something you've worked at, or is that just something that's happened naturally as you've been posting?
I'd say it's kind of like a trifecta. It's naturally, for sure, through the years. I mean, I opened up social media accounts for my store 3 months before I even opened up, when I was not even, my little store at the time wasn't even built yet, but I was going hard with social media. I did paid ads. Word of mouth got around, me just sharing on my own personal page, and that's just kind of how it grew. But in terms of just current day growing it, I like to do, of course, what we talked about, boosted ads, where you'll get new followers. It just comes naturally when you post things with, just hashtags of what the product is, what town you're in. You'll get it that way too. And of course, just word of mouth of, oh, hey, do you follow Arsenal on social media? Or, when they come in your store and they see that I have a sign in the store, hey, follow us on social media, and I have all the icons of where we're at and stuff. But then another big one, and, John can talk a lot about this, a lot of my inspiration for it came from John, my first Comics Pro, when I saw his panel on social media, is the community outreach that's shown on social media, because small businesses, we're all in it together, especially, now more than ever. And if there's a collaboration we can do, or with a local charity or local school, it really just, it gets the word out about your mission and who you are, and it just gets more eyes on you. And of course, you're doing it for the other party as well, getting more eyes on what they're about as well. So it's, it's a symbiotic relationship, and it just really helps grow.
Yeah, what Timmy's saying is that, like, the more people you work with, we have this theory that, like, if you throw one big rock in a pond, it hits and it creates ripples. if you have a handful of pebbles and throw them on a lake, you can cover the whole lake. And that's like when we would do art events. All the artists that we work with are like respectively a handful of pebbles you throw out there, each one doing their own social media posts, all leading back to your store. And then we support them and reciprocate it. Work with, again, we had this art theory too, where at one point, as opposed to expanding our square footage, which wasn't working for big box when we were doing really well, we decided to expand our reach into the community. And it worked out for us because we could also show to our customers what we were doing for the community. So, I mean, and then one Timmy, that like some people really don't know is that after people like your post, and again, we're always boosting the people that like the page and our friends, thinking that if we're promoting to people who, the friends of the people who like our page, comic collector fans are always talking about comics, so they probably know, and maybe these people will see our journey and want to join on to that journey. So promoting to like within the community is a good idea too. But once people like a post, you can go back and invite them to like your page. I mean, it's very basic, but some people don't know that. If you go through the page, there's a thing about inviting people to like your page that don't like it by that like the post. So. I'm always surprised how many people don't know that. So.
Do you find a good turnaround on that? Do people usually accept?
I don't, you know what? I know that my likes go up, but I don't think it's as common as it used to be for people to, because I mean, people would get bogged down with that to a certain extent. But again, you always say like when you boost something, it's like you breathe out, everybody's watching, and then you go back to normal. But each time you build up your ability to hold air, and you get a little bit bigger each time. You big post, maybe you settle down a little bit better and your lung capacity gets bigger. That's one of my analogies too. So
Timmy,
you grow a little bit
with
with each good post.
Yeah, it's like we've been talking about, showcasing your mission, the statement of what you're about and what your shop's about. I wholeheartedly believe the words I'm about to say, and I know it's going to sound extremely corny, but I want to be the comic shop and the comic shop owner where everything we do would make our fictional heroes proud. Like, I want to be a comic book store that has the statement mission where Spidey could come through the door and he'd be proud of me. And if I can do my part on showing that and being genuine on social media, whether it be in the store or outside the store, I don't care if it benefits us financially where people then come to us and shop to us or like us. I just know that I'm doing my part of showing that Arsenal Comics and Games is real and genuine, and we want to be the shop that our heroes would be proud of.
All right. Well, kind of we're closing out here. Do you guys have any specific social media success stories that you could share that might, have some advice hidden in there? Like maybe you tried something new that worked out really well that somebody else might be able to kind of piggyback off of?
I mean, like I said, the live sales have been doing great for us. A success story would be like how we've kind of maintained control of the decisions that we've made during the coronavirus crisis, in the sense that like this was a great way to communicate to our customers. Are we still open? What services are we still offering? So I'd say like our connection to our customers is a success story at this point, and for them to have a rationale, and we mentioned this before, of why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, that's a big success for us. I mean, it's a struggle because the decisions you make are not going to make everybody happy. I mean, some people think you should be shuttered up and staying at home. But you have to make educated decisions. I check the governor's briefing in Ohio. He does one at 2 p.m. every day, and I listen to it. So I'm making an educated decision about what I'm doing. And it might not be for everybody, but I have a rationale. And that's what I learned from the governor. Have a rationale behind what you're doing. And we actually did get investigated by our local board of health, and we passed with flying colors. We think it's one of Ben's ex-girlfriends. They always leave like 1-star reviews. Or I don't know who else would do it, but we got investigated and they said, case closed. You're doing more than your part. That's all we needed to hear. So yeah, you're not going to make everybody happy, but you got to be able to show people again that you're doing the best you can, and make educated decisions, show a rationale for your process, and like check the climate of your community daily, man. I mean, at one point we had a post where Ben was out delivering 56 deliveries in one day, and very, head up in the air and very happy about being a delivery. But the next day we had our first death in Ohio. So that's not the day for comedy posts, man. So be aware of the pulse of your community at any given time. And there are some times where it's not a comedy act. And to me, everything's funny, but I mean, it's not on certain days. So take the pulse of your community every day, man, and see where they're at, you know, and just make good educated decisions when you're deciding how to handle stuff during the crisis. And we have a lot of challenges coming up that aren't going to make everybody happy. And with social media, again, the tide can turn real fast on you. So just have a rationale, and again, don't be arrogant about anything that you're doing. We learned that from GameStop, who got defiant in Pennsylvania. What are they going to do to us? They sent training manuals to their employees about how to handle police interactions. What can happen to you? The governor of Pennsylvania shut down their license to do business in Pennsylvania. That's what happens if you're arrogant. Again, you're doing the best you can. Let people know you're making the best decisions you can, just like anybody.
Timmy, did you have any success stories you wanted to share, or any info like John?
You know, the thing that comes to mind immediately, not to give the super long story, but it's my recent last weekend. We had a break-in while our stores are closed and things are already hard enough as it is, but we had a break-in with a lot of damage, a lot of theft, and it was one of those things where like, man, do we even post this? It's kind of embarrassing. It sucks. But then people are going to see it anyway. They're going to find out about it. They're going to drive by the store and see and message and call you. So we just, we posted it. We have a life-size Batman. So, we of course throw in a little gag like, oh geez, Batman did nothing. And I not once thought that a nightmare morning could be turned around thanks to social media into being, I'll be honest, the last week working to the bone, I've been very beat. I've been feeling very just lack of energy, unlike no other. Like it really hit me hard. And then the break was just the last thing I needed. And we posted on social media, and the response we got has just given me, it's like Popeye eating spinach. I had never dreamed that we would get such a response on social media, which then translated to calls, people, wanting to come by, drive by and see how we are, social distancing from their car. The love and support we got was amazing. There was a moment that Saturday afternoon where I was tearing up after, just all the nice words and generosity, and people just calling saying, hey, I want to buy this X amount of stuff, etc. I saw what happened. And it was just, it's very humbling, and it wouldn't have happened if we weren't so prominent on social media interacting with people, because now when we posted such a harsh, terrible nightmare of a situation, they responded back with kindness and generosity. And for a guy who struggles with self-esteem issues, I've never felt more loved and more silly to have self-esteem issues, because I guess, my old man saw it and he looked at me and he goes, well, I guess you're doing something right, kiddo. And I was like, thanks.
No, I think to Timmy's credit, like we're all high highs and low lows, man. We're used to, like, as any small business person, we're used to running our business with a certain amount of continuity, a little mystery sometimes, but continuity. And again, I find I'm having high highs and low lows all the freaking time. And we had one customer that sent us a check, like the big thing about gift certificates and everything right now to support business, sent us a check for future product bought. He didn't want a gift certificate even, for $2,000. Wow. And I turned it down and I said, I don't need the check, but I needed that. I needed someone to have faith in me. I needed someone to just trust my word that they would get $2,000 worth of comics back someday. So again, refuse the money, didn't need the money, needed the gesture. That's what I needed. So don't feel bad, Timmy. My old man never told me I did anything right. So.
Well, we're getting towards the end of the hour here. So did you guys have any last minute remarks you wanted to make? If not, I think it would be a great place to plug where people can find you on find your stores on social media.
Oh, cool. You could just find on Facebook, Carol and John's Comic Book Shop. It's pretty easy to find. It's spelled out. And then Instagrams are #ComicCatWinston. So, that's all I got. Everybody, you should be trying to find some new revenue streams out there. That's the goal. Help yourself, take care of yourself. Help could be coming in a certain sense, but you got to try something new. You got to go out of your comfort zone. And we did, and it's working out for us, but it's still very stressful. Just try.
And Timmy, where can people find you?
Arsenal Comics and Games, all spelt out on Facebook and Instagram. And on Twitter, it's just Arsenal_comics. And our website's arsenalcng.com.
And, if anyone listening wants to help out, I know Timmy's GoFundMe is still running. I know he won't plug it, but I'll plug it for him.
Thanks.
Please follow the CBLDF. We have a YouTube channel. Everything is just Comic Book Legal Defense Fund or at CBLDF. We have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Check back on our YouTube channel. We'll post this whole video, and, we'll be sending out resources via email about some of the stuff that we covered here, how to start selling on Facebook Live, some other information. So look for that in a little bit on your in your inbox. And
to give a shout out for you for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund. It felt like you guys were for 2 years waiting in the wings for something to do, a case to crack or something to do. But the minute this started, you guys jumped into action, and Charles is producing some great work. If you are a comic book shop and you are not connected to them on a regular basis, you should be going to the website, reading all their articles. Their resources are off the hook. It's like the same stuff that everybody's providing for you, except it's comic shop centric. So
yeah, you guys were
absolutely go and check out what they have going on. Yeah, you guys are on it. So
yeah,
congratulations.
we really appreciate that. All of our resources are available, just cbldf.org. And like John said, we've kind of been in crisis mode, so we've just been focusing on putting out resources, and most of them have been particularly for comic book shops. So there's a lot of stuff on there if you need info on applying for government loans, or what to do if you're temporarily shut down, or some remote selling strategies. There's a lot of good tools like this webinar that we just did with John and Timmy. And thank you guys so much for all your insight. I think this went really great. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Timmy,
All right.
I think I got the first Steranko Kirby mask.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
That
I had it
Steranko
made.
issue is one of my favorite covers. I love that cover.
All right, that's it. All right.
All right. Bye guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.